Hello, hi. Hi, welcome to today's edition of Office Hour. And I will start by answering your questions that you have listed on our question sheet. All right? Okay. So, first of all, can I add together or rather concatenate several fields together to create a value for a field within one sheet? Okay, this is kind of a simple one. Okay, for example, first name, middle name, family name, you want to concatenate these. This can be done with the concatenate function on Excel, yes, and we have something similar like that on Ragic. Okay, so let me do a short demo on how to do that. Let's say we have an employee sheet. So on this sheet, we have a full name already, but let's say for for demonstration, let's move the phone number here and add rows. Like we have first name, middle name, and last name. Okay, so we would like to have the field middle name, the field full name to be a concatenation of these three fields. So how do we do that? So we go to the formula. We just write a string formula to concatenate these three fields. So this would be A1 plus space plus C1 plus space plus E1, okay? So you should reference A1. Oh, that would be A2. Sorry, this is a second row. So A2, C2, E2. All right, A1, C1, A2, C2, E2. All right, so let's save this. So when you enter a new employee, you say that's Jeff C. Quo. So it's gonna work like it's on Excel. So you could concatenate these with a Ragic formula. Okay. All right. You can do this with a string concatenation formula like on Excel. Okay, and we also have the document for this. So let me point you to the document in case you need some more advanced formulas on strings. Formulas in strings. Here we go. Also, please see here. Okay. I hope this answers your question. All right, next one. Linking two tables created by import CSV. Okay. I created two tables from CSV import. The CSVs are tables from our ticketing system, Synchro MSP. One is customer with customer ID, and one is ticket table with a ticket ID and customer ID. Okay, so these two tables are linked. So if I link these two on the link manager on Ragic, it's complaining that a customer ID on the ticket table is not unique. How do I connect these tables? Okay, the system should not complain that the customer ID on the ticket table is not unique because you should be configuring the customer field on ticketing connecting to the customer sheet as its source. The link manager will only ask you to make sure that the source sheet, the field that you're linked to, the link source is unique so that when you're choosing a customer on the ticket sheet and each customer ID is unique. So unless you're connect unless you're unless you're somehow um, connecting the customer ID on the ticket sheet to the customer sheet, or there should not be this problem. Okay, so so you should be doing the configuration on the ticket ticket sheet and use customer sheet as a source. Ragic only make sure that the source field is unique, which would be the customer ID on the customer sheet. The customer ID on the ticket sheet need not be unique. Okay, so yeah, we only enforce the source field to be unique. Okay, I've seen the method of creating a subtable. Is that the only way to link? No, yeah, you can use a link manager to do the linking. Yeah, let me see if I can also do a simple demo. Yeah. Okay, let's say we have the customer sheet. Customer. Okay, so let's just create a very simple customer sheet. Customer ID, customer name, customer email. All right. So, and we create another sheet, which is the ticket sheet, the tickets. Okay, the tickets. So we have ticket ID, subject, content, and then we try to link the customer. Okay, so when we're trying to link the customer, let's save this first and exit. So Ragic will enforce that the customer ID needs to be unique. So I have not configured this to check for uniqueness. So that's for demo's sake, let's try to make two customers with the same customer ID. So the first customer might be Google. Okay, and the second one would be Apple. Okay, so these are the same right now. And okay, let's say that we have another company called Apple too at apple.com. So the customer name is not unique and the customer ID is unique. Okay. All right. So when we're trying to link the customer to the ticket sheet, maybe when we're trying to link the customer name, if you're trying to link it with the customer name, it's going to complain that the customer name is not unique. So you cannot do that. But the customer ID is unique. This way you can create a link with customer ID and it loads the name and email. Here we go. So we save the design and we can just create a new ticket, test ticket, and choose a customer, maybe like Apple, and it will load the data correctly. So it only needs to have the source, which is the customer in this case, to be the source field to be unique. Okay. All right. I hope this demo answers your question. All right, next question. Is there a way to generate the standard letter to multiple clients, not necessarily on the same day? Okay, I'm not exactly sure what a standard letter is. Um, okay, I think I kind of know what you mean. We have a function called custom email. So we should be able to create a custom email action button so that you could send template emails to many users, to many recipients when you click on the action button. So it should be here. Send custom email. Okay. Okay. You can create an action button for sending out custom email with a template. Okay. Let's see if I can do another demo on this. So maybe when we're doing tickets, we want to email the customer email, send an email to the customer email. Okay. And we go to Form Tools and we try to send custom email. So here is the template that you could use. So the template would look something like this. And when you preview it, this is the template. And you can modify it, any way you want with these brackets being the variables. So I could just do something like this. You can also attach files and add more stuff to the content of the email, or change the subject like this. When you save it, it becomes an action button on the sheet. Okay. When you exit it and you click on this button, it will send an email to this email address. And the content and the subject of the email is based on the template that you just designed in the design mode with the custom email function. All right, next question. Is it possible to use the data from subtable of a sheet as link and node? Okay, well, it's definitely possible, so let's see the question detail. The unique field is also generated and the sheet save information about the service request. Sheet save information about service request. The service request includes information not limited to these fields. It also includes the list of sources to be used, the source of job positions. Okay, so a service request may contain multiple job positions. So creating a timesheet for work, I should be able to link and load data of the service request and also assign job position to a worker. Is that possible? Yeah, I think it should be possible. So yeah, let me see if I could also create a short demo on what you just described. Um, okay, now service request and timesheet. Okay, service request. So what should a service request form have? So name of service, dates, budget, service request ID. Always add a unique ID to a sheet. It's always very helpful. And name of service, start date. Okay, use these, and now we have the resources. Okay, so let's say it's inspector, administrative personnel. Okay, so resources, let's say it's a maybe it's a job role, and number of staff. This is a numeric number. Job role, maybe there's a selection of like admin or inspector or project manager. Okay, I'm just like a common example. Maybe some memo here. Okay, this could be a service request. So when you create a service request, you're creating name of service is to job A, start date might be someday. Number of staff, we could have one, and we need like 2 inspectors and maybe and a project manager. Okay, so on the on the questions, it mentioned that we want to create a timesheet for work, and we want to link and load the data of the service request and assign job position to a worker. Is it possible? So yes. So first of all, what you do is that for all the subtable data, you could create a new sheet from subtable. So this is really useful for doing this kind of thing. So okay, so this job role sheet pretty much means that it's the job roles for all the service requests. So when you're creating a timesheet, you can choose, which job role this timesheet is for. Okay. All right. So when we create a new timesheet, we don't link to the service request sheet. We link to the job role sheet. Okay. So timesheet ID. Oops. This should be an auto-generate field. Timesheet date. And now we try to link and load from the job role sheet. Oh, these are not linkable. So we'll have to, because let's save this first. Let's add a few fields to the job role sheet to make it linkable. Because like I mentioned, all sheets should have a unique ID field to make them easier to manage. So insert role, job role ID. Okay. Then we should add this to the service request so that when you create a service request, it will also contain a job role ID. So you could do it like this. Oh, oops, not this. Job role ID. Okay, we add this back. Update subtable. So here we have a job role ID right here. Okay, so let's create a new job, job B. Okay, so inspector 2, project manager 1, and admin 1. Okay, so let's try creating a timesheet for this project manager. So when we're doing this on the timesheet, we could link and load the job role. Okay, so we can link and load these fields. Okay, So you could choose the job role ID, job role service. You could choose the job role ID, and you'll be able to automatically fill out the job role service request ID and so on. Okay, so we're creating a timesheet, and we choose a job role ID. So we're creating for the project manager. Okay, so it loads that this is the project manager, and the service request ID also number 2, number of staff here, like this. So this way, you can link and load data from a subtable. I hope this explains how to do this. And this is actually a pretty good example of, how to do link and load, and in a little bit more advanced way when you're when you're trying to link and load data from a subtable. And it's definitely possible on Ragic. It's achievable. Create a new sheet from the subtable and use the newly created sheet as the link source. Yeah, it's actually one sentence, and I just did a whole demo to to show you how to actually do that. All right. Okay, how do I set time zones of my database? Is it possible to change the time zones of the time displayed on my database, such as the time value on the time fields? Also, would it be possible to apply multiple time zones on one Ragic database, such as the time will be displayed differently for my colleague in UK and USA because they're in different time zones? For Ragic, we do support multiple time zones, but we don't really need you to configure your own time zone, because it will fetch the time zone configuration on your computer so that it will display the time according to your computer time and time zone. So you don't really need to configure that because it will fetch this information from your computer browser. So and if your colleague is in a different time zone, it's able to convert this kind of time into different time zones. Oh, but if you're referring to the time fields that you have on your sheet, an easy way to deal with this, an easier way to deal with this is that you can configure the field as time ago, display as time ago, or display as countdown. Because if you're displaying the time as time ago and countdown, then it's gonna kind of ignore the time zone differences. But for the fields that you created on your sheet, it's gonna be displayed in one single time zone. But and also an alternative is to well, it's not actually an alternative, is that the time displayed on the comments and other places on Ragic is displayed according to different time zones. But the fields on Ragic does not support multiple time zone yet. So yeah, it's also something that we'll look into. Okay, to summarize, the Ragic system fields are displayed according to your computer time zone. For date time fields that you created on Ragic Sheets, you can use a time ago setting to make sure that time is displayed according thing. It's sort of according to time zone. We will look into automatic time zone conversion for date field, date time fields in the future. All right. Okay, for now, the simple way was to configure it as a countdown or a time ago. Yeah, it's sort of according to time zone. Okay, next question. Is it possible to move multiple fields at once in design mode? Right, yeah, currently it's not possible, and yeah, we've heard that quite a few times, and yeah, we'll get to that. We'll get to that. Sometimes want to change the location of dragging one at a time. Yeah, yes, this is something we plan to do in the future. And also, sometimes you can kind of insert rows and insert columns or delete rows, delete columns to kind of move them all at once. All right. Okay, last question. Is being able to sort or rearrange multiple views, okay, rearrange multiple sheets? Is being able to sort or rearrange the multiple views, you're referring to the views that you created here, which populates underneath save filter, okay, on the row map. I would like to group these multiple views, but they seem to load randomly each time. I don't think they load randomly. They the new views that are added underneath previous views, and it shows the personal views first and then the shared views. But we do have the plan to add a feature to for the users to arrange these. Yeah, I don't think you can arrange them now. Hey, you can arrange them here. Yeah, I think some of the views does not support rearrange, but you could. I think you should try the rearrange function first. I think what is still missing for now is the ability to mix personal views and shared views together. Yeah. So we do have some rearrange abilities for you to arrange these views, but I know that there's still some types of um, rearranging is still missing. Okay, yeah, and we'll be adding those functions. Yeah, there are lots of modules on Ragic, and we're working hard to support all kinds of enhancement all the time. All right, I hope these answers is helpful for all of our viewers. Yeah, I know a lot of you might not be able to make it in real time to the office hour, but And we'll always upload these recordings to our YouTube channel. So, you can always check out my answers to your questions, when we upload the recordings to our YouTube channel. All right, that's it for the office hour session today. So thank you all for listening and for watching. So if you have any more questions, feel free to submit them at the Ragic office hour question sheet. And yeah, I'll I'll answer those questions in 2 weeks. All right. Okay. Goodbye.